Teachers in Singapore don't need to share their personal phone numbers or answer non-emergency work messages after school hours. This was announced at the Education Ministry's annual Work Plan seminar today, part of moves to establish boundaries and protect the well-being of educators. The ministry also stresses the importance of mutual courtesy and respect, warning that those who harass or abuse school staff will be firmly dealt with. It's also working to reduce teachers' workload. Now, there are also new guidelines for schools and parents to work closer together and to shield teachers from what's described as unreasonable behavior.
I will jealously guard the respect for the teaching profession in Singapore. I will never let this slide. The day where the teaching profession is no longer respected in Singapore will be the day where we cannot recruit quality teachers to join us. Then no amount of good policies, structures, infrastructures will help us. So quality teachers are the key.
Nurturing the young is the core focus of teachers. Yet sometimes they face abuse from parents. To protect its teachers, the Education Ministry has renewed its guidelines on how parents and teachers can work together to support their child's learning.
I feel that a respectful communication between each other, between the educator and also the parent is vital. Ultimately, because we want to engage in a win-win situation for our children.
MOE says there's a need to set boundaries and reset expectations of what educators should and shouldn't do. The ministry stressed that aside from emergencies, teachers will not be required to respond to work-related messages after school hours. They are also not obligated to share their personal mobile numbers with parents.
We cannot deny that having a synergistic collaboration between the two is optimal for the child to be able to thrive in schools. If you are mindful as an educator in terms of how you're communicating to parents, how you're sharing, expressing your views to parents, and on the other hand, parents are also mindful, careful about how they're addressing you, how you can value add to each other's roles. I think that would help the child see that, these two parties, they care for me, they want the best for me.
A new engagement charter by the ministry also states how parents are expected to behave when they interact with school staff. MOE says it will take firm action and issue warnings against those who are unreasonable or abusive.
While the bulk of the parents, they work with the school very, very respectfully, mutually, but there is a small percentage of parents, very small number of parents who sometimes misaligned, and sometimes it borders on disrespect for our teachers.
The renewed guidelines and charter will be communicated to all parents through various platforms. Education Minister Chan Chun Sing says it's crucial for teachers to focus on their core responsibilities.
This is not a movie title. We don't need to be everywhere, everything, everyone, all at the same time. We are not superhuman beings. If we don't prioritize, we do ourselves a disservice. We also do our efforts and our students a disservice.
Mr. Chan adds these measures will help teachers avoid mental stress and burnout and keep them in the sector.
The Singapore Teachers Union has welcomed the move to reduce the overall workload for educators and hopes the new measures are just the beginning. Education Minister Chan Chun Sing says using technology to do more administrative tasks can free up teachers to focus on students and personal development. He was referring to a pilot to allow parents to submit their children's medical certificates online.
If the trial works, the pilot works, we will scale this up. But this is just one simple example of using technology to reduce the workload of our teachers. There are many work streams looking at this coming online, and we hope to see many more good ideas.
The union representing teachers says schools should not add new duties on educators even as their workload is reduced. It says school leaders must be able to recognize needs and prioritize what must be done to ensure an overall reduction in teachers' workload. It says other focus areas could include rethinking the extent of teachers' duty of care.
Maybe we can look at some of the responsibilities and duties that teachers have to perform now. Especially in primary schools where, we extend this notion of duty of care to such a large area, like even teachers performing recess duties, gate duties, So these kind of things we may have to relook and say, where do we draw the line in terms of duty of care and where we should allow the students to take responsibility for their own behavior